Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Esports Rewind, the weekly podcast that normally Jake and I do together. Today it will be Pete and I, Pete behind the camera as usual, but Jake, I guess, went on vacation with his family of giraffes. So let us know your favorite and least favorite thing about Jake's neck. Let's get into it.
First up on the podcast, the big one, the one that's been dominating a lot of our videos, it's Valkyrae finally goes on stream, talks about the Reflect drama, and maybe somehow, impossibly, makes things worse.
I feel like there was a lot of different reactions to this. I don't know. I just watched the whole thing this morning. I know you've watched it recently too. And so it was interesting to see Ray go on stream and kind of just try to shamble together responses. I think personally, I could tell that she was really stressed about the situation.
I am not a chemist. I've never been to the lab in person. I've just seen the research and all that.
If you guys are unfamiliar somehow and you've missed this, basically she came out with her product line, right? Where she comes out, claims all this stuff about blue light.
Yeah, blue light's gonna kill your skin and melt your face off.
Right, but there was no studies behind it. We had WebMD, a link to WebMD, which as we all know, is probably the worst
WebMD
link.
is the most trusted source on the internet.
You have a cold and you'll die from it, right? And so they link that, and then she comes forward on stream and just starts to talk about it and kind of, like you said, crashes and burns a little bit, right?
It was rough in a lot of places. She came off as like, and in her defense, she even kind of admitted, look, I wasn't supposed to be a co-founder. Yeah. I was just supposed to be a creative collaborator was the title that she was given.
I was a creative collaborator. I actually asked if I could if there was something shorter so that it looked prettier in my bio, and they said you could put co-founder if you want. So yeah, that's why it was co-founder, because I thought creative collaborator was too long.
And then these people, Ideovation Labs, came forward and were like, well, why don't we make you a co-founder?
Right.
And she's like, that sounds sick. I'm going to do that. And the problem was, then a lot of things happened on stream that made it seem like either she was misinformed or maybe the people at Ideovation had just not been giving her the information she needed. But at some point, there's a level of due diligence that just didn't happen here. At some point,
definitely,
I think both of us agree that you would have to sit down and be like, this new skincare line is saying that blue light from my phone is damaging my skin. I should maybe do 5 minutes of research, or maybe hire someone, because, I'm a millionaire and I co-own 100 Thieves, to look into this before I put my name on it. And when she didn't do that, it sort of all exploded in her face.
And that's when I learned that their studies can't be publicized. So that's the part where I was very naive about, because I didn't know that part.
And I think this might be just a good lesson for her overall. I want to believe the good in people. And so I do want to believe with her that this is just a big freaking mistake at the end of the day, that she did not know what she was getting into. She even says when she first sat down with them that she went to them and said, hey, this is kind of the idea I have. I don't know if it's a real thing or not, but will you guys look into it? And they said, yeah, for sure. We'll go do our own studies and go do the research on it.
They're secret studies.
Right, which she then later addresses in a few points. I'll just bring up a few of the big things she says is A, they can't publish any of the research that they did on it because they're afraid that other people might steal, the product that they have and what they're doing. Sketchy, of course.
Yeah, you and I had a big argument about this too, where I think that's insane because no one needs to know like the proprietary blend of your skincare. The only thing people want to know is the basic premise of everything your product is built on exists. Like, it's like saying, I've invented a drug to cure the disease like flurbin, but I should probably prove that flurbin is a thing that exists. And in this case, it's like, blue light damages your skin from smartphones.
Right.
And the only study they put out there actually said the opposite. And it was like, oh, by the way, blue light and low exposures at low energy sources like a smartphone is actually helpful for your skin and can treat skin cancer even.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say in her defense is she can't control any of it. Is the unfortunate position that she's in. Yeah. She can't be the one to give out the research. And so she says that. She goes on after that saying, hey, I don't really want to be involved in this anymore. Like straight up says it, which I feel like had to get her in trouble to say, we can't put out this research and I don't want to be involved in something that we can't publish the research for. And I'm just asking people to blindly trust us.
Yeah. And this is like for my last point. And I think I weirdly agree with XTC's take on this because she also was like, man, I wish more of my, streamer friends had reached out to me privately
Yeah.
and like gave me their support, to which XTC responded, well, I wouldn't expect them to, because at some point you didn't do your job. You're putting your name on this. Like, this has your face on this. You're the face of this product. You needed to do the 5 minutes of due diligence because it's now your job.
I signed the papers. I signed the contract. I did it on my own. It's my battle. I'm solo. I don't assume that the whole squad is on my and now we're fighting together. It's just kind of not how it works when it comes to shit like this.
So if you screw up your job, no one needs to come to your defense. He's like, if I screwed up, if I put out a game that was weird or like didn't make any sense or was like cringy, I wouldn't expect anyone to come to my defense because that's me screwing my job up.
Yeah.
You've screwed your job up, and that's just kind of the fallout you have to deal with.
So after all this whole situation, Valkyrae, I think we both agree, definitely made a lot of mistakes in it, and it was her job maybe to do a little bit more due diligence. But at this point, we'll have to see. We will link, of course, her whole video down below, and we'll have to see how it plays out.
So next up, we've got Dr. Disrespect, back on Twitch for like the 48th time since his permanent ban. He's been cosplayed by Vis. He's been cosplayed by Z-Laner. Z-Laner has streamed with him during Twitch Rivals events, which was hilarious. And this time it was Summit 1G on his stream, watching a couple of videos to kick the stream off. Pulls up a Doc video, watches a couple, 10, 15 seconds of it. His chat's like, oh, you're going to get banned, you're going to get banned. And he just rolls it and was like, oh, no, you're right, chat. We did it. We got banned. It's a 3-day. We're out. We just got to cut the stream.
Okay. I'm not allowed to watch them? It's a YouTube video. Bullshit. I watch band streamers all the time. I watch the video with, what's that guy's name? The guy who faked like he was in a wheelchair. If I can't watch Doc, how can I watch him? All right, boys. Well, hey, looks like our time here is over. We're going to be banned for 3 days.
I'm curious. So this is super interesting to me because, like you said, we've seen him show up all over Twitch every once in a while. We get to see Doc over here. We even in the Twitch leaks recently, we saw information about Doc. And so he kind of, I almost want to call Dr. Disrespect the ghost of Twitch at this point because he's just haunting Twitch and haunting everyone around them, which begs the question, are we eventually going to find out more and more because people are testing the waters. I don't know. At this point, Summit hasn't gotten banned for anything, as far as I know. And so to see if Twitch will actually come forward and make a point of, hey, you can't even watch Doc clips, or do they just keep letting this kind of stuff ride and keep going?
And that seems to be the thing. Apparently, from what we've always been told, what we've always understood, you couldn't even watch Doc clips on Twitch. But it's happened a few times. Summit was pretty blatant about it and just started joking about it afterwards. But like, there doesn't seem to be any real consequence in the last few months for breaking the rules on Doc. Mm-hmm. Like Z-Laner apparently got like a warning, but he didn't care because what are you going to do to Z-Laner? You can't stream on Twitch for like the 1 day every 3 months you stream on Twitch. Who cares?
Right.
Summit, they're not going to do anything to Summit, and he's too big. And so you've seen, and like even Cloaksy has made jokes about like, maybe I'm just going to take that 3D ban. I'm going to take that 3-day ban and just stream with Doc because I miss Doc so much.
I want to play with Doc so fucking bad. What if I stream, right? I stream with Doc. Z didn't get banned, right? Z didn't get banned. So I'm thinking I stream with Doc. And the worst thing that happens is I get banned for like 2 weeks or a month. But then I have 2 weeks or a month off of streaming, 5-head, right? And then I come back.
And so at some point, you're right. Either you have to relax your rules on Doc or enforce them, and it looks like they're just not that interested in enforcing them, at least right now.
It's funny to me the way you bring that up because I remember the old joke used to be like, oh, I'll just flash the camera and get a 1 day, 3-day ban. But now I guess the question is Dr. Disrespect the new flashing the camera? Do I just bring up some Doc content and then I'm going to get banned? We will have to see. As of right now, Summit has not been banned for watching Doc content, but you never know.
And as of us recording, this happened minutes ago, like maybe a few hours ago. We learned that FaZe Clan would go public. It's a publicly traded company. You can buy FaZe Clan stock on the on NASDAQ, on the Dow, whenever you want, assuming this deal goes through, which it looks like it will, making them, I believe, the second major esports org to be publicly traded right after Astralis.
The team that came from making trick shots is now going public. How crazy is that?
This isn't just a big moment for us in FaZe Clan.
It's a huge moment for everybody who grew up on the internet with us.
We've grown up with you guys.
This is really something we've all created together.
This is your company, your brand.
And without you guys, we would never be here.
I'm so proud of my entire team here at FaZe for being a part of something so incredible. It means the world to us.
Yeah, so we've seen Astralis, and it did not go super well for them.
No, it did not.
As we know, I don't know a ton about the stock market. Let's preface that.
Astralis had a little spike at the beginning and then dropped to just above half their initial valuation in the
So
market.
I think this is the right way to say it. I could be wrong, but they're at like 8 point something points at first, and now they're at 4 point something. And so overall, the situation did not go well for them, but FaZe now getting, I think with this deal, $291 million upfront, which I think is the big part of this. I understand being publicly traded will bring a lot to them, and it could bring a lot more accountability, a lot more issues, but it'll also bring this 300 milli, right off the bat, which who knows what they'll do with it.
Yeah, and that's massive money. And speaking of massive money, the other big thing that has a lot of people riled up is this included, because it was an S-cap, a valuation of about $1 billion, making them the first esports org to be valued at $1 billion. A lot of people, given the type of public offering, the type of IPO this is, and given that kind of crazy number, especially since FaZe said they were just barely making money like 2 years ago, are a little skeptical of this being a legit, like this could be a lot more hype than it is like a real fiscally sound evaluation. But even just throwing out there that maybe this might not be like the true number, it's still the first time we've seen an esports org valued at $1 billion, and that's a massive step for the industry.
I think right before we came over here, I saw a tweet. I don't remember who it was from, but they were talking about that. I remember when the TSM valuation was big news.
Oh, Jacob Wolf was talking about this.
Okay, that's who it was. Was it on Forbes or something like that? I don't remember. And this is over double that. And so to say that
double the
FaZe
valuation
Clan
of Swift, which was wild,
is worth double that, is a big deal. And I have to say, obviously, FaZe is a huge IP and has done massive collaborations at this point, but they've also had massive problems. And so I think at the end of the day, we'll have to see where this goes. My brain, a little cynical, of course, thinks back to Save the Kids and says, oh man, what if Save the Kids happened now after it was publicly traded?
What if they had gone public? Let's say their stock, shows up at like, $40 a share or whatever whatever it launches at, we'll say 40 for fun. And then this happens, Save the Kids happens, they have to kick out K, like Jarvis is gone, they lose like 2 top content creators, they're embroiled in all this crypto scam stuff. And then, they still make the money off of their IPO. Like their money's made. Like they get that $291 million the second it goes live, basically the second it goes live. So the people who get hurt are the investors.
Yeah.
And so, but at what point, since the investors are now going to own about 32% of FaZe Clan with Lee Trink and a few others owning the majority stake, but with 32% of your own company furious at you because all of a sudden their stock price is plummeted because you got caught doing like some weird crypto nonsense, that's going to put a whole new level of pressure on FaZe Clan, who was already dealing with a lot of bad press in the last few months and just recently kind of turned it around.
I think at the end of the day, this is a high risk, high reward play that could pay off really well. We could see other orgs end up mimicking it. Like I could totally see, obviously first comes to mind is 100 Thieves or Optic going public. I mean, Hex could benefit largely from that. 100 Thieves is actually ran as a very good business. And so maybe if this goes well, we see other orgs do it in the future. I'm not sure, but we'll have to see if this plays out well for FaZe or not.
All right. We have seen a lot of ripoffs in the esports scene from, obvious, but like not super blatant ones like Garena Impact for, PUBG or Rainbow Six famously had a ripoff that was so blatant that like Apple Store and Ubisoft sued the Apple Store and Google to get it removed. But this is the most blatant ripoff I have ever seen of a game, and not just any game, of a mainline Call of Duty. This game called Combat Masters is not just similar to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. It appears to have ported over the exact assets. It is like pixel for pixel, in many cases, a direct clone of Modern Warfare, but impressively done for mobile gaming. But this is 100%, like the screenshots are wild. They are an exact matchup. The menus are the same. The interface is the same. The operators and the skins and even some of the sales bundles are the same. It's the most insane thing I've seen this week.
So, and let's clarify for a second. I have a question to ask you. This is, like you said, Modern Warfare. the PC console game, not COD Mobile, copied.
No, this is Modern Warfare, the PC console, you know, just somehow ported almost like pixel perfectly over to mobile, which is kind of impressive, although incredibly sketchy and ethically questionable.
Right. They figured out how to copy and paste. That's really interesting to me because the first question you ask yourself is, okay, why didn't Call of Duty do that? You know, if it was possible to put that over, what made them decide to do mobile instead of porting over one of their most successful games, I'll say. The other thing it makes me think is we've seen, like you said, so many games copied. League of Legends obviously had clones for a long time on mobile. That now Wild Rift has been challenging. They didn't really make a big deal out of it because they didn't have a mobile scene. We've also had Valorant, who when they were first announced, said that they were going to have a mobile version eventually. But I think in the past couple months we saw the clone pop up that literally looked exactly like
them.
it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how people do this. It's definitely beyond me at this point, but how people are able to just take it and copy it and then not get in trouble for it. Like what does Activision do at this point?
So yeah, that's the thing is it takes a big company. Like last time it took Ubisoft actually suing first, you know, the Apple and the Google Play stores to get it removed, and then going after the company themselves for breaching IP, for breaching like their, you know, it's their property. You can't just take it and rebrand it.
Yeah.
But the company first has to notice it, and then has to like do a cease and desist, and then has to go after them. And then most times it doesn't seem like the companies are interested in taking the time and legal effort to recoup damages. So if you get your money out of the gate real quick, and let's say you launch in a market where Activision isn't like actively monitoring things, like you're in the Asian market somewhere, then all of a sudden you can maybe make a good amount of bank before Activision catches on and you're forced to shut everything down. So it's kind of like a little pop-up, like, you know, little pop-up game. You throw it up on the store, you get the money that you can, then you shut it all down as soon as Activision comes knocking with the lawyers. And that seems to be what's happening here because so far, no response from Activision.
I think we've seen that with a lot of like cheaters and hack providers too, where they just make it, they pump it out, and then eventually their website gets shut down, and they say, okay, well, we made our money, and then move on. So we'll have to see at this point. We've got a Call of Duty Modern Warfare clone, but on mobile, will they get caught and shut down, or will they just cash out?
We have Daquan and Hamlinz making a lot of news when they came back first, you know, to streaming, and then left TSM for NRG. On top of that, made the Thum house.
We're back, and welcome to the NRG Thum house, baby, and we brought the gang.
We back and we taking over.
Yes, sir.
Now Hamlinz has revealed a little peek behind the curtain of what was going on with Mixer. Just days after Ninja was talking about his, you know, exposing the things that really led to the downfall of Mixer, Hamlinz on his Twitch stream watching a documentary detailing Ninja's time with Mixer, just broke in to let us chat know, hey, by the way, at one point, like when I was at the peak of my Twitch popularity before, like, you know, Daquan and I stepped away, they were offering me like $7 to $10 million to go to Mixer. And as soon as I started streaming a little bit less to kind of like work on the deal, they pulled the plug on it.
Y'all want to know something that's crazy? Mixer offered me $7 to $10 mil to go over there. Not even shitting you. This was when I was like peaking like 27, 40K viewers every stream. I'm not even shitting you, bro. Not even shitting you. And then chat, you want to know what happened? Pepe laugh, bro. Pepe laugh. They offered me 7 to 10 million, right? And then I kept streaming. I like started streaming less. And then I was in a conversation with them. We were talking, and then they came to me one day and just like, Hams, I don't know, man. You're just not streaming enough. I think we're gonna take the deal back, bro. And I was like, I've got nothing left.
I'm curious now what people are able to talk about now that Mixer doesn't exist and why. I have to imagine there has to be some sort of restriction, which is why we haven't heard about it. But the first thing I think of is, of course, what if we have Ninja, we have Shroud. What if they had Daquan and Hamlinz at the end of the day too? Would that have made Mixer successful? Probably not, but it's crazy to think how much money they were actually throwing around then if they're just offering $10 million to Hamlinz before he even goes away. He was big, yes, but would that have made a difference? I'm not really sure at the end of the day.
It's hard to say, at the very least, because given the timetable, like Hamlinz was gone for about 16, 17 months in total, but this was before that happened. If he had signed the Mixer deal, I think the Mixer basically went away just a few months after he was going to quit streaming anyhow.
Yeah.
So he could have dragged it out and like gotten that $7 to $10 million payout ninja style for doing like 8 months of work. But I think we've learned that, well, Ninja may have been on the decline when he went to Mixer in terms of numbers and viewership, so maybe he didn't quite have the pull he hoped he would. But Shroud was actually like an ascending Twitch star.
Yeah.
And going to Mixer also absolutely killed his numbers. So you can't imagine that Hamlinz would have the exact same, or wouldn't have the exact same impact because of all the problems Ninja's mentioned. Like, if you are a big Hamlinz fan, you still got to get your Microsoft email set up.
Right.
You still got to run through like the Microsoft setup for your email to change your username. There's all these things in your way. And it also just kind of feels like no matter who they brought over, unless they brought everyone, just no one was willing to go through that hassle.
And I think the big part that stuck out to me, you're relating it to Ninja's, when he talked about everything, is Hamlinz saying, hey, I was stopping streaming anyways at that point. Like, I was starting to stream less, and they came to me and said, hey, never mind. Like, we don't want to give you that deal anymore. And then you see Ninja on the other side, like you said, saying, oh, I'm going to double my hours. Like, I'm doubling what I have to. And so I think at the end of the day for Hamlinz, it was going to be worth it because he didn't want to stream as much. And then you have Ninja who's streaming twice as much as he normally did, and it still didn't work out. And so I think overall, unless you have another point, all I'll say is Hamlinz getting offered $7 to $10 million from Mixer. Should he have taken it? I don't know.
All right, and in things, another big story from the weekend. League of Legends World is going on. We don't cover it a ton because I know a lot of you guys are not huge into League, but it was the home of the most insane owner interaction I've ever seen with a team. This was Revenant, who lists himself as an owner of Mad Lions, although Mad Lions later kind of disputed that. But Revenant went on Twitch, went on Twitter, called out not only most of the Mad Lions team, except for two guys who was like, these two are carrying us, but called out Carzzy incredibly hard multiple times, saying he's not on their level, he got carried, he's not very good, just absolutely dumpstering his own players in a way that I don't think we've ever seen in the esports scene before, not at a level this big.
Yeah, and the reason I pull up my phone is just so I can read them to everyone. And so the first one, it's in a different language. I'm going to read it in English, though. And so he said...
Oh, you're not going to do this in French?
No.
Okay.
He said the two that he was talking about were doing well were Elyoya and Kaiser. And then he continues to say, I keep thinking that Carzzy doesn't have the level, and then goes on to say, I know that I would bring Flacked in, no doubt, but I don't have any power on that. And then a handicap wheelchair emoji, which also kind of threw me for a loop there. I don't know why he did that.
I don't know. It's like some next level toxic stuff right there.
And then another translation of something else he said on stream, saying that he talked about this in a tweet. It was his opinion. He thinks that he should make Flack the starting ADC on their team and take out Carzzy because he doesn't think Carzzy is very good or not at his best level. And then at the end says, I can say that and I can say whatever I want, because he got a lot of backlash for this, which I think was warranted. It's not that it's not allowed. It's like, yes, you can say that, but should you say it? Probably not. It's just inappropriate. And if you're Carzzy, I mean, how do you feel to have the owner of your org just crapping on you?
Right. And not only does this hurt your team and hurt the team chemistry, like this hurts his and let's point this out too. Carzzy is in the middle of renegotiating his contract with Mad Lions, and you have one of the owners being like, this guy's not worth it. Get this guy out of here. Bench this idiot. And so how, like, this is like killing someone's livelihood.
Yeah.
Someone you're actively negotiating with. In fact, it was just so bad that Mad Lions came out and tried to distance themselves from Revenant, saying that he was just a content creator. Like, we don't know why he's got owner in his bio. He's not part of they clarified, he's not part of the owner management group. So he might just be like a major investor.
Yeah.
Either way, this is like, not only is this an owner trashing his team, this is an owner actively killing the value of one of his players who his team is still trying to resign. And we've seen guys like Carlos. Like, Carlos is the king of like speaking his mind, making the hot takes, going a little outrageous. But he's never crossed a line like this. He's never personally attacked one of his own players. He's made fun of his team before.
Right.
But not in this like very personal, very targeted way.
I was going to say, even with their team, G2's team right now, he's talked a ton about how, we're going to be getting another team and like these people are going to be leaving and who they're going to sign. Or he hasn't said who they're going to sign, but saying that they are going to be leaving. We're not blocking any trades, but he never straight up just says this person is awful. There's still a certain retention of, I guess, ethics, I would call it, of, I'm not going to crap on Carzzy because that could hurt his chances of course, it seems like he's pretty much not going to be with the team, I would imagine, after this.
You would hope so. I
You
can't
never
imagine
know.
going back to that team at this point.
Right, but it could also hurt his chances with other teams, like you're saying, of like, oh, well, this owner thinks that he's awful. Why would we want to sign him? But a lot of people disagreed with it to begin with on Twitter. We're saying, hey, Carsey didn't even have a bad season at this point. It wasn't even awful. And so it's ridiculous that he came out and said that and targeted him. Definitely, I would say, inappropriate behavior for an owner. And shouts to Carsey because... All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. It was nice having Pete here, I think, talking about it. But, of course, we missed Jake a little bit. So give us your favorite memories, maybe the best thing you can remember about Jake at this point. And tune in next week. We'll catch you later.